Do you know which president of the United States said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country"? Here is a hint. He was also the youngest person ever elected to the office of president. Who is he? He is President John F. Kennedy. Who was John F. Kennedy? Today, we are going to talk more about the 35th President of the United States. John Fitzgerald Kennedy was born on May 29, 1917, to parents Joseph and Rose Kennedy. He was the second of 9 children and went by the nickname Jack. He would gain another nickname later in his life, but we will get to that one in a minute. Growing up, Jack was sick a lot. He battled a severe case of scarlet fever when he was just 3 years old that was almost fatal. He was in the hospital for over a month. Even though Jack battled with sickness, he still worked super hard and had lots of help because his family was very wealthy. By the time Jack was 19, he enrolled at Harvard University and played on the football team. However, he put most of his efforts into his history and government classes. He injured his spine in college and never fully recovered from the injury. After Jack graduated college cum laude, which means with honor, he joined the Navy. Once he was in the Navy, Jack immediately distinguished himself in combat. He earned a Purple Heart and became a war hero after the boat he commanded was destroyed by a Japanese warship. Do you remember when we mentioned that John F. Kennedy had another nickname besides Jack? His other nickname was JFK. Maybe you have even heard that before. After the war, JFK decided to pursue politics and ran for office as a Democrat. Starting in 1946, he served in the House of Representatives and then the United States Senate for the state of Massachusetts. He married Jacqueline Bouvier in 1953. They would eventually have 2 living children, Caroline and John. In 1960, JFK ran for President of the United States with Lyndon B. Johnson as a vice president. And guess what? They won! Here is an interesting fact. JFK was elected president by the narrowest popular voting margin in history. At 43, he was also the youngest person ever elected to the office of president and the first Catholic to serve. Here is another interesting fact. President Kennedy donated his entire presidential salary to charity. 2 important world events happened when JFK was president. The first was called the Bay of Pigs, which was a failed attempt to overthrow the new leader of Cuba because he was an ally of the former Soviet Union. The second event was called the Cuban Missile Crisis, which was a conflict over weapons with the Soviet Union and Cuba. President Kennedy was also a president during the Civil Rights Movement, where black leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. advocated for the end of racial discrimination in the United States. JFK was a big supporter of this movement and wanted to pass more laws to guarantee equal rights for all people. Sadly, John F. Kennedy's presidency only lasted less than 3 years. He was assassinated on November 22, 1963, in Dallas, Texas. The entire nation mourned the loss of their beloved leader. Instead of a review, let's think about some things together. What are some ways that you can be like President Kennedy and support and encourage equality? If you were president, What kinds of things would be important to you as a leader? Thanks for thinking with us, friends. Even though his presidency was short, the legacy of President John F. Kennedy lives on, and his calls for peace, justice, and equality are still important, even today.
Hope you had fun learning with us. Visit us at learnbright.org for thousands of free resources and turnkey solutions for teachers and homeschoolers.